Yeah, we'll do it there. Oh, I wonder if I can hear that. All right. Well, then, welcome to the Commander Signal, an audio extension of the HTTRC Facebook page. I'm obviously reading my notes because I don't remember my own shit. And your home for the Redskins past and the Commander's future. So, here we are. Finally, the both of us together here.
Yes, yes, we are.
First time we ever got to talk.
Yes, it is.
Don't mind me. I'm slamming beers. Sorry about that.
I'm drinking fruit punch because
You're a good guy.
balance of life. No, I'll have the Heineken tomorrow for sure. But yeah, taking a look at things here. All right, we're gonna start out with trade news. We're gonna keep
Yeah,
it
so
current.
we had some trade news today, which you were paying attention to, and I wasn't because I was busy today.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm gonna pitch that to you, and you can let us know what's going on with that.
yeah, the NFL's greatest insider, Ian Rappaport,
Oh, the
dropping
man.
dropping some truth bombs here and harsh realities for us. So our Commanders look to be moving on from William Jackson III, and his desire for a fresh start is going to be met. He gets to go to the Steelers. It's a funny thing. One of my best friends is actually a Steelers fan. He's been asking me. He's like, "Is this a good trade?" And um, I'm a little conflicted on that because we've seen him play great football, but then we've also seen him struggle.
Yeah,
That being said, there were rumors he had a back injury that he's dealing with and kind of didn't like what was going on. Um, so we're getting a sixth round pick in 2025 out of it, and we're going to trade him and the 2025 seventh round pick that we have to do that. It's going to be interesting. He actually hasn't played since week 5. Um, the Washington doesn't really get anything major in the return other than dropping the giant contract.
yeah. Well, we'll take it.
And it looks like Pittsburgh's going to take pick that. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm used to hockey. So in hockey, we get trades where like some other teams, take some of the contract and that. And this,
Right,
no,
right.
we managed to get rid of $42 million over 3 years. So,
That's nice.
um,
That's nice.
yeah, I think if anything, if there's going to be a positive of that trade,
Can we do
it's
that to Wentz?
the cap room. And yeah, I'm,
We're ahead of ourselves on that one.
oh,
More on
no,
that
no, but
later.
it's a good point though. Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke's giving him a run for his money here.
Right. So that's where I'm gonna start my notes here. We'll get to the Colts recap now. And I'll have to start by giving Taylor his props for getting it done, especially at the end there. We saw Wentz in a similar situation and he got in loss. And Taylor can take it, man. Like he gets the same pressure. We see our OL struggle. And he still gets killed because it's impossible not to, but he seems to take it better.
Yeah, I will say that for sure. His compete level, I don't know if it's just maybe his demeanor and how he approaches the game, but everyone seems to buy in when he's out there.
He does,
And
yeah.
even our O line, they seem to put in a little extra effort. I mean,
I agree. They did
yeah,
better. I
and
saw him actually have some time a couple times. You never see that any ever.
right. The one thing I do like about Wentz is when the pocket collapses, there are times where he's willing to take the sack. And sometimes I think Heineke might be better off in certain situations, but I can't blame a man for trying to run when he can. And
Well,
the
yeah,
results often are very, very good. So,
yeah.
um,
And let's not. I mean, like the Colts are a bad team, but they had a great defense. Like they are a high ranked defensive team, so it's not like that part of it was bad. So obviously they were going to give us a rough time. So it's kind of like two good
yeah,
defensive teams that both have kind of a questionable offense in a way. Although our offense is
right.
great, it's just weird because we got some great pieces on the offense. But
I sometimes I thought at first it was just bad play calling, but
yeah,
got to give it to these defensive coordinators on the teams that we faced. Some of the things they call are just either perfectly timed or just coincidentally make us look really bad on offense. And I'm hoping that over time the offense kind of irons things out. I see with Heineke, um, his like willingness and compete level almost can carry him through bad moments. Where with Wentz, I've kind of noticed that if he has one pick or he throws something bad and takes a sack, he's
Yeah.
kind of off for a bit. Where for a $30 million guy, I don't feel that's something you should be seeing.
Yeah, I see him take those sacks and he just like stops looking downfield like immediately, you know? Like he just immediately is like, where
Right.
can I go? And I understand that. Like I get it, but Taylor will take them hits and he'll still kind of like pop back and try to still see what's downfield. And that's
Oh,
kind of the difference, I think.
even in that Colts game with the second to last final play, I didn't think McLaurin was even going to get to that
Oh,
ball or anything at all,
man.
and
That dude's insane. Uh,
that was just one man taking over a game. And I know we kind of joked about it. We're like, where's the guys? Where's the it factor right now?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I was
soon
talking
as we
shit on him
joked
in the
about it,
comments between me and you. I'm like, oh, Mr. It Factor. And then he does it on the last play.
also,
I'm like, well, there it is. Never mind. Just
and then
saved
props
it for the
too. He
last
didn't
play,
take
but I'll take it.
yeah, didn't even take his helmet off until after the timeout got called. So no flag there,
What a
no
man.
shenanigans, and
And it was a road win. I mean, you got to acknowledge that, even though, again, if you can call them a bad team, but a road win's always kind of tough. A bad team with a backup quarterback, man, you can see those type of teams get up
oh
big
yeah,
time. And, so it's still a tough win to get. And he got it. I said before, good teams win winnable games. And that's what he
that is
did. So
very true. And
have to give it to him.
yeah, I have to note that
Shit.
I know this Colts team was beatable going into Sunday, but historically we had lost 5 of the last 6
Right.
matchups,
Yeah.
and I, I'm just glad to see that things kind of worked out. It wasn't a pretty game by any means, but the team grinded
No.
and really stepped up when it mattered, especially on defense. I know I've said I'm a fan of Benjamin St. Juste, but
Mm.
for real,
Yeah.
great quarterback, and he deserves a little more respect that he's getting right now.
Yeah. So now I'll do the little bit of a walkthrough through the game just to kind of recap it a little bit. A quiet first quarter, man. No scores. On our side, you've seen McKissick and Robinson kind of shine a little bit. But that's
Yeah,
about it. Quiet first quarter.
yeah, Heineke, I believe he only threw about 6 passes in the first quarter,
Yeah.
completed 5. So he was taking what was available. I kind of liked that he wasn't forcing anything, especially early. It wasn't the time to do that. So
No, he was getting killed. He was getting killed out there. A lot of 3-and-outs on both sides, and again,
yeah,
our defense doing the thing. So, then the second half opened up with the Colts field goal. I just wrote down. I was a lot of times if I don't get to watch it on TV, I'll watch the 10-minute recap on NFL.com and I'll just pick out the game and I'll watch the 10-minute thing they got. So I just wrote Terry so insanely good because that must have been a great catch at that point.
yes.
The Gibson touchdown put us up 7-3.
That I was really hyped for. Especially with our Commanders offense. We saw in like those first 4 games of the season that the moment we gave up points, it looked like the offense just kind of became
Yeah,
clueless.
I
So
start
to
giving
come
up.
back and actually get something on the board there, that was big. So
Yeah, and I wrote down here more bad offensive line. Heineke's running for his life, but he handles it better.
he does. He does. I gotta admit,
As we were just saying. That's what I had wrote down at that point. I'm like, it just seems like he'll take that hit and just forget it, and just like
oh
you
yeah.
gotta have that amnesia for a minute and just keep going, man.
And the more he plays, the more confidence I see from him, and it's frightening
He
to
does
think
not
of what
lack
the limit.
confidence.
No, and especially him and McLaurin, them together.
Dude pops
Even
up in
post
there with
game
the Jordans
interviews.
and shit with the team
Oh,
colors. That dude's acting a fool, man.
everyone's expecting he'd be a quiet guy,
He's
keep the
not.
lead. He's like, no, this is my show. Like, oh, all
Not.
right. And yeah, the one thing I've noticed for sure, especially is him in the pocket when things break down. There's no fear there. the first start
Uh,
he had, he looked like he was running for his life and panicked the whole time. But he's definitely settling in, and I just wonder if our O line was better or we had like improvement there, just how far he can go.
yeah.
This is coming from a guy that said, no, Wentz is the starter. He's going to be the guy the whole season. Now I don't even know. Do
Yeah,
you
it's
start
always
him or do
that
you
thing where
not?
it's just kind of both. It is a bad offensive line, and sometimes it is him. I've seen him make bad decisions. Like I talk so much shit on it just being offensive line, and like it's not Wentz. And then I watch a game and I'm like, golly, man, why did you do that? Like,
Right.
why?
And
Just throw it away. Throw it away. Why take a sack for a loss when you can just throw it away, man?
I
And he
think it's
won't do it. It's just weird. Like, come on, you know better than that.
I don't know if maybe that time he had when he was Indianapolis's quarterback just kind of really got to him because we haven't really seen the same guy since. Like we'll get flashes of some good football from him, but if he has like the moment he has anything shaky happen, it's kind of unnerving how quick he falls apart. And if I'm Rivera right now and this team keeps winning, yes, I know it's not just Heineke that's
No.
resulting in the wins, but when you have a guy that the whole offense is rallying around, the whole team seems to be
Yeah.
rallying around.
You got to acknowledge that, man. They do. They
Yeah,
love that dude. You can just tell. It's weird.
and
Um,
it's going to be interesting. So, provided they stick with Heineke, what do you do with Wentz at that point? You can't really just move $30 million, and you kind of
yeah.
gave up a lot to get him. But
Yeah, it's a thing. I guess we'll see what they do. I don't know.
for sure,
And again, like I mean, and again, we're getting ahead of ourselves with Heineke, even man, because
yeah,
we see these two games and that's going well, but I mean, there's still a long way to go. So and we know Wentz is at least out for 6 weeks. Probably 4 now, I guess,
right.
because
This
I think they're gonna try to take as long as they can to get it back.
and I think you don't rush him at this point. I
No,
no, if
no,
I want Wentz back, I want him at 100%. And
no.
I
If he
know
wakes up
you,
with a headache, let him fucking chill for a week.
and I know you and I have talked before about how I kind of felt like we have a QB controversy kind of brewing here again, like the level of RG3 Cousins. And it's
Mm.
funny because Cousins is the guy we play on Sunday, but
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. But honestly,
it,
RG3 was killer until he got his other knee wrecked.
oh yeah, and
Before that Seahawks game where he lost his other, we're going backwards now, but
oh
before that Seahawks game where they was targeting his knee on purpose and took him out. Before that, he was killer. I had no problem with RG3 whatsoever.
he
After that,
was.
though, yeah, he was not the same. And then that's he already had an ACL in college. Then he had another one. It's a mess. Man, there's no way you're coming back from that. No man will.
Oh no. I figured as a QB he wouldn't have like the longest, career, as a starter, but I never really figured it would fizzle out as quickly as it did. And
He
he's
ran
clearly
too
going.
much, and he wasn't good at it. To be honest, like
Yeah,
in college, he was, but that's not in the NFL. You can't run like that in the NFL as a quarterback unless you're
it's
the Ravens dude,
that's true. And it's funny,
or Jackson or whatever his name is.
it's been about 10 years, and then it's kind of funny, the same problems still pop up with this team again and again. But um I I feel like I know in terms of me being a fan that it my friend said it's kind of like he's like it's the NFC version of being a Jets fan. You get your success, you get your
Oh,
happiness, but then you get your moments where like you have no idea what the team's doing, and
oh, yeah, that's
for
for
some
sure.
reason, I'm just a fan of this organization through and through, even with everything that's went on, and I'm like, I just want to see it be successful.
I guess
Truthfully,
I never told that story in a way. So when I got into them, it was in the late '80s and early '90s when they were great and winning
right?
Super Bowls and like because I'm from Louisiana, that's where I am. My dad was a Saints fan, watched every Saints game, so I wanted my own team. I'm a little kid. I'm like I'm gonna find my team, and like back then, man, the Redskins were so like just big and mean and like crushing people and stuff. And I just they like had the coolest helmets. And I
Right.
was like, I love them, man. That's my team forever. That's why I kind of got into them, and they were actually great. And then Dan Snyder bought them, and
Oh yeah.
here we
I
are.
yeah, I had a less, successful story with it. I kind of started watching them in 2008 when I believe it was Jim Zorn coaching,
Oh
and
my, I remember that. Yeah.
oof. But
Jim Zorn, I forgot about that guy.
the one game I watched that year, I think it was against the Cowboys, and ended up coming back with like a final play at like the end of the game. I'm pretty sure Santana Moss made the catch, and it was literally that game that was like, all right, this is my team. And before I even researched anything, and then that whole thing started, and um, got to see my brother be a Colts fan, go through his ride of like enjoying Peyton Manning being great, and then
Yeah. Well, the Colts were awful for all those years
oh
before
yeah,
Peyton Manning. I remember being young. Like the Colts were always bad. They were the Jets back then. The Colts were awful until Peyton Manning. And then you have Peyton Manning and they're amazing. And then after that, they're just kind of back to being the Colts. That
yeah,
happens to every
somewhat.
team.
Oh yeah, even the Patriots are
Even the
dealing with it
Patriots.
right
Again, the
now.
Patriots
And
weren't that great before the Tom Brady stuff and all that, man. They were
oh,
horrible
and
for a
they
long time. They had some good players, and you got like Junior Seau and stuff. They were great at the time, but
I see that they're kind of having some of the organizational issues that our team did, in that Belichick, with his staff having, family that's related to him, he's not going to fire them, even if
no.
like those people are doing bad. And it just kind of breeds a culture of like nepotism, which seems to be very present in the NFL. But
Yes.
that would be a discussion altogether for another day. That could go
Indeed.
on for a long time.
So we were at the third quarter before we
Indeed, we were.
randled off, which is great. Again, we never got to talk before, so this is gonna happen probably. But no, not talk this way anyway, besides a million messages. But
Yes.
third quarter, the Colts field goal with 7 minutes left of the third went to 7-6. And then the big Colts fumble happened with 3 minutes left.
Oh,
And we got nothing out of it.
I was so hyped at that moment. I was like, yes, we got the ball. We're gonna run down. We're gonna get points.
And
And
it got
and then I
close.
was
And then
like,
yeah.
just kind of fizzled out there.
Yeah, and
And
another third quarter is pretty quiet. Other than that, not really nothing much happened. In the
yeah,
fourth quarter, the Colts again starts off with a field goal from the Colts. Kind of the story of the
yeah.
game. They went up 9-7 at that point. And they got an interception that led to their touchdown. That went 16 to
Oh,
7. I'm skipping a lot, but I'm doing just kind of
oh no, no. The moment that touchdown happened too, I was like,
that's when I told
I
you I'm like game.
yeah, I kind of felt
Game.
it too. I was like, I know Heineke has all the
We're
heart
dead.
and soul and everything you wish for in a
Oh, dude, speaking
quarterback,
of
but
Peyton Manning, you said Peyton Manning was in the building. I'm like, oh
he
man, we're gonna
was
lose. You can't lose in
right.
front of Peyton Manning.
Oh no, no. And I got to give props to Ellinger for the Colts. Honestly, it was a
He
losing
was
effort, but he
yeah,
played some really good football.
yeah, no,
I
watching the highlights, I think he did really good. I mean, losing against us isn't gonna help his resume, but
no, no, no. I
he,
think Frank.
I saw some good stuff there.
Yeah, I think Frank Reich and the coaching staff there, they kind of missed an opportunity to do a little more run heavy football there. But um, yeah, I believe they actually fired one of their offensive staff following the game too. So that was interesting. Yeah.
We got to the end of that this is into the fourth quarter. So we got into the fourth quarter, and this is where I told you, because man, there's one thing about the Redskins, Commanders, whatever the hell it is. Man, we love field goals, right? We get right there and it's almost touchdown. Like, come on, touchdown. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh no, field goal.
Especially
And
chip shots.
we've been getting so many 3-and-outs. I just messaged you. I'm like, man, I'm almost starting to miss field goals at this point. And what do you know? Field goal. It's
Yeah.
16-10.
Oh, and the
With 3 minutes
moment,
left.
yeah, the moment that happened, I was like, oh, this is gonna be so close again. And I was, I didn't think we were gonna pull through. I figured it was gonna be one of those where we got field goals and then we were gonna get another drive that
Yeah.
somehow would end with a field goal and we'd have to like scramble at the last minute and like onside kick or something.
I about to
But
say, I figure at that point you're not going to go for the field goal. They're just trying to get the touchdown, not get it, and it ends type thing.
right.
Because you can't go for a
So
field goal that late. I'd throw shit.
oh no. And
I try not to curse on this show like I do my punk show, but I'm failing at the moment.
oh no, you're golden there. And honestly, um yeah, anytime you're within 30 yards, like if it's a field goal from less than 30, I don't know if you go to kick it, honestly. I'd
No,
have to think about going for it.
they gotta go.
Yeah, there's actually a I was trying to remember a like college professor online like published like this book about basically uh why NFL teams should go for it on fourth down if you're like
I was
within
telling you
like
that.
10 yards. And the guy made an excellent point and backed it up with statistics and everything. And I don't know if it's just that offenses are that much more respective of defenses nowadays, or they're just afraid of getting stuffed and like having the crowd lose their minds. But
I don't care. I tell you that, man. And again, it's just my old man moment. I don't care. If you guys can't get me one damn yard, I don't need you. If it's 4th and 1, we going for it every time. I don't care where we are in the field. You can't get me
right,
1 yard, I'm cutting you tomorrow. Go get it. I don't care.
for
One
real,
yard.
sneak through
Do
something,
it. I
dive
don't
under
care
some
what you
legs.
do.
I don't right.
Don't run up the middle.
Oh
Don't run up
no,
the
no,
damn middle because that's not going to work. They know you're going to do that shit. Don't run up the middle. But do something. Give me 1 yard. I don't care how you get it. Somebody going
right.
to do it.
And
You're
that's the
losing your job.
one thing I have been so confused by with our play calling on offense. I get that like, we want to do power run, and that's great, but not on a 4th and 1. Like, where do you think? No, like
That's
it's
a I'd right. I just told you that exact speech and text. I'm like, I don't care what it is. It's
right,
4th and 1, go for it. And then he did, and then we didn't get it. I was like,
but not
well,
like
that's why I'm
that.
not a coach, and that's why I get fired, and that's why
Oh
I'm just
man,
a nerd talking on fucking Zoom.
right. And I'm also that person that's like, we should run more screen passes. And then I see teams that do run more screen passes, and I'm like, maybe we shouldn't.
Don't do that.
No, no. Um, I do see QB bootlegs really do work with Heineke. I think if anything, they got to try to throw more of those in. But um, if we've seen anything, calling an offense for pretty much any team in the NFL right now is almost a headache, unless you're Kansas City or one of the teams that has like tons of weapons. I think it's just a year of the defense. Everyone's stepping up, and it's we've seen that over like the past few years with the NFL that it's really become more of like a passing league and a lot more scoring. And
Yeah.
I think we're starting to actually see that like natural bounce back, like kind of going the other way.
Old school defense. I love. I was again. I'm old. I love old defensive games. One of my favorite games I ever watched. Random side note. It was like Old Miss and Auburn or something in college. The score was 3-2. It was a field goal and a safety, and that was it. I mean, and it wasn't like bad play on offense. Like the
Oh
defenses on
no,
both sides were just crushing. It was an amazing game. I
right,
loved it. Other people want to see 40-40 and 60-60. Like, man, that 3-2 game was so awesome. That's my kind
right.
of stuff. I love that, man. I love the good
Yeah,
defense games, but
and that's yeah, honestly, that's one thing I'm noticing too. Even the older I get, like when I was younger, I was like, oh, points, points, points. The older you get, the more you actually enjoy watching defense, and especially for me,
yeah.
cornerbacks that do great coverage, because that job
Oh
I
man.
feel is nearly impossible, especially with the rules in place nowadays.
Yep.
So to see the guys that can kind of get away
Oh
with,
yeah.
like pushing away or like the little things, and it's like an art form to me,
Yeah, now
honestly.
that we have to go through so much to find out what a catch is and all this craziness. I've told you
Oh, for
before too,
real.
like my favorite part of a receiver, I don't care about hands. I'm worried about your feet. When you're getting on those sidelines and when they know where their feet's at, they get it right on that edge. I'm like, see that's my stuff, man. I love a
Yeah,
good
and
receiver. It knows where your feet's at all times, man.
they seem to just always
Watch your
know,
feet.
even right, like the they won't even be able to see where they're at sometimes, like hands in the face, still making the catch, getting the toes in. And I'm like, that's a
Man,
craft. That's
that's
someone that knows everything that's going on.
that's what I love. And anyway, wrapping up the recap part of this is we had the again, this is where we get to that last minute insane drive with Heineke. Again, he's handling pressure like a boss at this point. McLaurin, I keep calling McLaren because I don't know why. McLaurin with that insane catch makes no sense.
Oh,
Touchdown, win by a point, go up 4-4.
that
Wow.
catch was just still unreal to me. I mean, that's Stephen Gilmore. That's a Super Bowl winning
Ugh.
quarterback right there. And he just ripped the ball right out of his hands.
I love Terry McLaurin so much.
Right. For all the athletic skill and everything, his compete level, it might be the only thing better than
And
that.
Robinson, man, Robinson's shaping up nice. He really is. He's not quite an every down back yet, but boy, he runs hard, man. I like him.
And what a story too. I mean,
Yeah.
to come back from ever just to be able to
Wow.
get on the field and then now the impact he's making on
That's
this offense. Like,
yeah, if I was him, I'd be on the first thing smoking out of there. You're
right.
like,
I
I got
mean,
robbed. What do you want me to do? I'm not staying here.
gets
Nah, he
shot,
took that shit, man.
plays for Washington, still comes back within 5 weeks. It's like, wow.
And he
It's
like
just
such a classy dude. He runs so hard. He's so cool. McLaurin is unbelievable. Again, such a
eh,
classy guy. So amazing. I
this
I haven't had a favorite player probably since like Clinton Portis or something. Man, I love that guy.
right.
I
I
hope we can
mean,
keep him. We don't like I said we don't deserve him, but I hope we can keep him. He's so great.
oh, and what I especially loved on Sunday too is yeah, he's kind of like he seems like a quiet, reserved guy, but oh, when he's on it and he was like extremely emotional, but
Yeah.
you could tell it got everyone on that
He's
offense
got some
hyped too.
fire,
Like,
man. He's got some
oh,
fire when he's in the zone for it, and when he's in that moment and stuff, and even when he's making his speech backstage when they share all that
right.
stuff. I love it. That dude's just so intense and ready to go, and
Especially with this
so
team and
good.
oh, unreal. And I have to say, especially when coming from, having losing seasons and everything, with the culture that can come of that, even when, players are trying to compete, just knowing you're on an organization that isn't the best, sometimes it just, you'll see guys' morale kind of like drop and things of that
And
nature.
I hate
You,
that because no matter what, you got to play for yourself, man. And I
right,
don't mean that in a selfish on the field way, but you gotta, if you're on a bad team, you still gotta put that out there. That way, maybe a
right,
better team might try to get to you. And I hope that don't happen. Leave Terry alone.
right. And yes, the thing I love about McLaurin though is regardless of the team's record, he always goes out, he gives his best,
Yeah.
and I hope we can keep him.
Yeah.
We are very lucky to have
And
someone with
then I
that much
mean, you
talent,
got like Gibson and Dotson too, man. Dotson's awesome. They're
right?
both really good, so we got a great receiving core.
Even
McLaurin's just so much head over heels better than the both of them, but they're both really good. Like there's a lot of
yes,
teams that kill to have either one.
right? And then we got like Diaby Brown and even Curtis Samuel still, and
Yeah, Samuel too, man. That dude's
right,
good. Like wow,
Samuel
we got depth
been
in a
like the
way.
Swiss Army knife,
Yeah,
especially with his ability to do to come in on offensive packages and run the football as a receiver. That's pretty neat to
that's
me.
one thing I find. I think it talks to our depth a little bit because when I'm watching the highlight thing, and it's hard to kind of get the whole game out of that, but when I'm watching just the highlight in 10 minutes or whatever, and I'm trying to write notes, it's just so many names doing
Yeah,
stuff. Like you said, you got Sims and all those guys. Like, wow, we
yeah,
got depth.
that final drive, Sims there. It was his first catch of the day, and it came at
Yeah,
like the biggest time. Like these guys know when to step up, and I think our offense, part of the problem might just be that we're having trouble getting opportunities for all these guys on the field. I mean, there's
yeah,
only 11 spots, right? But like,
right. It's like depth that's good and kind of bad in a way too, because it's hard to
right,
kind of directed. Maybe he's just kind of getting around to how to do it. Maybe I don't know.
And I think it's also a problem that our team is kind of unfamiliar with having in like the past few seasons. Usually we have like a few star guys, and then it's just a lot of role players to fill out. But I've kind of noticed that we got a lot more talent that seems willing to come here now. And I don't know, maybe if that's because of our owner Snyder being a little more hands off in some ways.
If we could ever get rid of Snyder, it would be
For
so
real.
big. Sell the team, man.
My favorite thing was that they have problems with him, so all he had to do was just put his wife in charge, and I was like, that's just gonna fly. Like I guess
No,
that's a solution, but
no, they don't like her either.
oh
They
no,
booed her
no.
out of the building.
Yeah, I knew it was kind of a little rough with the ownership picture when I think it was not yeah, it was our last home game when there was more Packers fans in the stadium than our own for a
Yeah, I
90th
remember that.
anniversary
Yeah.
celebration. I'm like,
There's been times I feel, and boy, you're ready to stab me for this one, but there's been times in the past. I've been around a long time. I've been there since Dan, before Dan, and like, there's been times where people were too hard on him. There's times where he made decisions that I think I was with at the time that didn't work out. I get that. Like
oh yeah.
Hainsworth, like I
I
saw
will
Hainsworth
never
when he
fault
was
him
before
for
he got
that.
to us with the Titans. Hainsworth was killing people. Like when we did that, I was like, I'm all for it, dudes. But too much money. We gave him too much, but I still thought it was a good pickup. Like he was
Right.
amazing. Then he got to us and did nothing. He just totally turned lazy. And I was like, man, I can't blame Dan for that. He was absolutely right. It would have been a cool pick to have if he would have actually did what for us what he did for the Titans back in the day.
For real. Even
It
some
looks
of the
dumb now, but at the time I was excited for it. Again, I knew the money was way too much, but if he would have done his job, like it'd have been cool. Might have even been worth it.
for me, honestly, even some of his coaching like decisions, like for hiring, like he made some picks that at the time weren't bad. Like it was honestly the best guys that were available, and
Yeah.
um,
There's a
I
lot of
remember
times I
even
think people were too hard on him for stuff, and you know.
yeah, I feel he was
Overall, though, he's gotta go.
he was him and Bruce Allen were a little too much buddy buddy, and that made things pretty difficult for a while with our team. But
Yeah.
I gotta give him credit for the fact he fired him. Like I never thought that day would happen.
And then the team name thing. Let's just address the goddamn team name thing. He
It
tried
had
to
to
keep the
happen.
Redskins harder than anybody. He absolutely said he would never give up the Redskins. He really tried to keep the Redskins, y'all. I'm serious. I said my,
Yes.
my my wife's grandfather was is completely native man who actually when they say they polled the native people to see if it was cool to keep the name or not, he actually got those and would always feel to keep it. He was always
Wow.
for the name.
I
When
yeah,
they say
he
75% of Native Americans were for the name, like it's real shit. We tried to keep it. It just got to the point where the sponsors, when it got to FedEx Field, and like the FedEx people were like, "Oh, we'll pull the sponsorship." What are you
yeah.
gonna do if every sponsor is gonna pull all the money away? What do you expect them to do?
Yeah.
That's the point where he said, "Fine, fuck it, we'll change it."
And then
It took
even
that.
yeah, he even tried to go for a year too just to like figure out a decent name.
And I
I know
love
a
the
lot of people
football team thing. I thought that shit was
right.
hilarious because he totally did it on purpose just to mess with him. He's like, fine, we'll
Yeah.
call it the football team so we don't offend anybody. I
Oh,
thought that was hilarious. I loved it.
and
It was
then the one,
amazing.
yeah, the other thing he did too is with the one alternate logo, even for the Commanders one, he put the years of the Super Bowls, like the actual years, not
Yeah,
the year of the NFL season, which
right.
apparently pissed off a bunch of people too. And I'm
Yeah.
like, there's no lie with the logo. You just don't like the way it is. Like, sorry.
That's the only thing I'll complain about is this logo sucks. I bought the hat
Mm,
anyway because I'll do it. But yeah, we need a logo, an actual logo. But anyway,
even if it was like a an army guy or like anything, like show
yeah.
me a commander, like right, like that'd be cool.
Yeah,
But
what the hell is it?
I
I
know it's
agree. It's
not
kind of a bad name in a way because what the hell is that going to be? But it's fine.
right.
I'm good. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I think
Give me a
as this
cool
team,
logo I can wear.
Okay. And as this team goes on and actually establishes more of an
I think they
identity,
will.
it'll get better.
They'll make a logo eventually, I think.
I gotta say the fact we have a black jersey that looks
Oh, that's
really
just
good.
yeah, those are cool.
I mean, it almost is like
I wish we
we're the
hadn't lost
Washington
in them.
Steelers, but
I wish we hadn't lost in them, man. That's what sucks. We debuted them and we just got our asses kicked. They're like, dress for your
right.
funeral. Like, oh, thanks.
Oh, and I know a lot of people rip on even like our current like home and away jerseys, but there are subtle
I
tributes
like them.
to the team there, and
I'm not.
right, and you had to move forward, so I can understand having a bit of a different image, and
It's got to change eventually.
I do like the new number font though,
Mm,
going away from that like typical block font just to change it up, pretty good.
looks good.
One thing I'm waiting for is I know a couple years back we had a color rush like yellow jersey that everyone seemed to hate.
Yeah.
But if we could bring back something like that, that would be interesting for me. I'm a fan of all the awful jerseys in the world. Like
Oh yeah,
the
the
Dolphins
Seahawks highlighters.
orange. Yeah, the Seahawks highlighter.
Oh, I miss the Bucks creamsicles. Every time the Bucks bring
Right.
back the creamsicles, I'm so excited. I miss that. I love the old
Watch,
Bucks.
watching Chicago in orange was really interesting for
Oh,
me.
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
That
I
poor
go
guy. Boy, their quarterback. I feel sorry for that poor dude.
right.
That dude gets killed. God.
Remember that one year the Denver Broncos wore like some like brown like and like tan yellow thing.
Yeah,
Oh
oh yeah, I
gosh.
remember those.
And I think the Packers had like their own blue
I was
and
about to say, I think the Packers one's probably the worst.
I'm
Theirs
pretty
actually looks ugly.
right.
I
Did they actually do like leather color helmets for that one game or like
think so. That
it
one.
was
I remember seeing
yeah,
some Packers. The Packers old ones are just awful.
yeah. They actually had some like yellow alternates and stuff too in the 2000s, but you know,
Yeah.
that's a team with a like a story pat like the jersey history that like I don't feel they should ever mess with.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're
Oh no,
classic.
oh no. One team's jerseys that I actually do like right now, gotta actually bring back up was the Chargers. I know they get a lot of flack for being in LA now, but they don't look that bad.
The
And
Chargers always moving around.
oh, for real. They just try to fit in wherever they can, and
Chargers, Rams, and Raiders. All the California teams always switch where the hell they're from.
yeah. I'm just waiting for the Chargers to eventually go to St. Louis because the whole rotation always seems to happen, but
Yeah,
one of
they're
them will
always
go
moving
there.
around. I don't know where the hell they're from anymore.
Yeah.
So our look ahead is to the Vikings now. We got like you said, the Cousins revenge angle. At least we're at home. That helps. The Vikings are really good. They're doing
Yes.
really well, but I'm hoping maybe this being a non-divisional road game for them, they might just man, I didn't look ahead to see what the Vikings are looking at after us. Maybe there's a
Yeah.
little look ahead spot or something. They might be more worried about what's after us instead of like trying to win a game against us that they don't really need.
Well, it's gonna be a lot harder for us on Sunday than it already would have been because it looks like the Vikings did acquire TJ Hawkinson from the Lions.
Oh,
So they
I
have some added depth at tight end. And
don't know why I picked that button. Hold on. I'm trying to see who the
okay.
Vikings are playing next.
Oh, you're good. It's an interesting trade. Looks like Minnesota sends them a 2023 second round pick and a third round pick from 2024 to get Hawkinson, a 2023 fourth round pick, and a conditional fourth round pick in 2024. So the Lions give up their star tight end and two draft picks for a second and a third
Ooh. Ah,
next
man, it
year.
sucks. I don't know.
Hey, it's I think it's one of those classic have not trades that seems to happen in the league where like the bottom teams sometimes don't actually get good offers for players they should. And I
Man.
feel like that probably wasn't like I don't understand because that's a trade in the division, and for just that is kind of baffling to me. So that's where I was coming back to earlier, being kind of ashamed to admit I'm a bit of a Lions fan because I like some of the stuff we're doing with that organization, especially Dan Campbell. Him as a coach, I think he's a good dude, and I think they're going to turn the ship around,
Yeah.
but not with moves like that.
I'm
And
just I'm just with the Lions side note. I'm just so glad Stafford got his moment because I always liked him. I thought Stafford was a dog, man. He used to get his ass kicked in the Lions, and he
oh,
took it every time like a pro. And like
one
to
of
see him get his moment, I was so excited for him. 'Cause I love Matt Stafford. I thought he was great.
my
I did a road trip in Michigan and we ate at this little restaurant. I was sitting right next to a Matt Stafford jersey. It was cool. But
that's
I don't know.
awesome.
I love that dude, man. I always thought he was great. It was great to see him get his moment because that dude took so much to be with the Lions and he always gave it. And when he finally got his moment, I thought it was cool.
My favorite moment, like watching him as a Lion, was that barn burner of a game he had with the Browns. And I think NFL Films is like the longest like clip or something of there's some record that goes with the clip, but
Yeah.
like he literally gets his shoulder dislocated,
Oh
goes
yeah.
to the sideline, gets it
Yeah.
popped, throws
Yeah.
with the same arm, and
Oh
I'm
yeah. That
like,
dude was a dog, man.
oh, that's unreal.
That dude was a dog. Man, he
Doctors are like,
was
are you ready to go? And he's like, put me in,
that dude is
go.
so tough, man. That dude is
Oh,
tough, dude. I
so to see
love
him
that dude.
actually get that Super Bowl, I mean, he kind of
Yeah,
earned it just for all those years being
totally.
in
I was
Detroit.
so
Like,
glad to at least see him get that because that dude is so goddamn tough, man. I love Matt Stafford.
yeah,
And the Lion, he kind of represented what the Lions were. I mean, the Lions always fight so hard, man.
right.
Even when they're awful, which is almost all the time.
And they always have like someone on defense that's really good too. This year they
Yeah.
got that rookie. Just trying to remember his name. Anyway, that
I don't know on
defensive end.
defense. All I know is the offense. They had that Swift.
But
The
yeah,
little running back
Swift.
named Swift. That dude, what a great name. That dude is
Yes.
so fast. He's
Oh, and
ridiculous.
he's
And they got that
small too, and he
they
can
got that killer receiver. Man.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, Monra. Oh
Oh
man.
yeah, he even gave us fits in that game he played against us. I remember
Yeah.
I was like, he's gonna have a good day, and then he went and had like 8 catches, and I'm like,
Still a tough
that
team, man. You
good?
look at their record, it makes no sense. That team is so great.
Oh no, it's
Makes no
just
sense.
I I'm honestly gonna break it down to injuries, just a little bit of bad luck, and then they did fire one of their defensive staff after the game because they
Yeah.
realized that's the issue.
Yeah.
So props for
Yeah.
them even doing that. I mean, if this was Detroit like 5 years ago, they wouldn't have done it.
I'm sure all the old Redskins fans are loving us talking about the fucking Lions.
We'll have to cut half of this out, no worries.
Should I
But
take it out the audio version? Or maybe I'll edit it out.
yeah, we can leave it
I
for
ought
the
to make them
YouTube.
listen to it.
Oh yeah, we'll see if they
No one
actually
listens to
see
this
it
shit
though.
anyway. I'll do it
Right?
anyway.
I know about 4 or 5 people that listen, and that's because I make them. But
Oh,
I
good. Well,
appreciate
thank you
that.
all so much for sitting through
Oh,
this. I hope you don't mind me being awful tonight.
oh no, you're golden there. Um, yeah, I actually have some stats here for us to take a look at. So normally we do that tail of the tape thing before the games. We're gonna do it here.
All right,
So,
let's do it.
yeah, just take a look at the offense for the Vikings here. They come in ranked 22nd in passing yards, but that's kind of deceiving. They do have 11 touchdowns on the year, and they've thrown about 5 picks. So Cousins is having his normal year. Guards
You
the
like
rushing,
that? You like that?
right? I
That
think that's the most you're ever gonna see out of that man
was the one
emotionally,
time he was fired up that one day.
right? And it was interesting because that is exactly how he would be and how I expected he would be if he was fired up too. I mean, He looks like a guy that if he got mad would be like, butter sticks. And it's like,
Yeah, well, he's one of those weird Mormon people. So
yeah. And yeah, taking a look, they're 23rd in rushing yards, but
I think he
that's
is.
actually really deceiving. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cousins is, yes. Um, so they actually have 10 rushing touchdowns and only one fumble. So defense on our side is really gonna have to step up against that rushing game, I feel. And yeah. So taking a look at our commanders, we're 11th in passing yards right now. The only problem is that with our 13 touchdowns, we've also thrown about 8 picks.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, 2 quarterbacks. So,
Yeah, it's
and I'm pretty sure Wentz accounted for like 6 of those, honestly.
probably it's a little here and there with that.
Yeah, take a look here.
Is that why you're doing that? As I was talking earlier, and this is where you get to the. All right, so I come from a lot of the sports gambling stuff. I don't really do it, but I always kind of followed it, and I like picking on that. I've won some pick pools and stuff, and you always got to look for those weird little spots, and I've told you all about that. Where,
Yeah,
like I said, you can look ahead. That's why I'm like, what is the Vikings doing next? Because if they're playing
right.
like a tough division opponent, they might not really care what we're doing. But the next game after us, that's what I was looking up. The next game after us is them versus the Bills.
Oh,
So
oh Lord.
in a way, that's a huge game because it's
Right.
like you're facing like this probably Super Bowl thing, but at the same time, that's not a big deal for them because it's out of conference and on the road. So non-conference road game, that's
Yeah.
the game they're gonna just skip. So that
Especially because
makes it tough on us.
that's I think outdoors in Buffalo
Yeah,
too.
that's the
So,
type of game where you just don't want to get nobody hurt.
oh no, no.
Do as little as you can, take that L and get the hell out of there and don't get anybody hurt. So that's the game you definitely want to pick the Bills on. They probably not going to really try. That makes it
Oh
tougher on
no.
us because they don't want to lose 2 games in a row.
No, and I know I've joked about Kirk Cousins not actually having any anger or anything, but he's an NFL quarterback, and
Oh
this is the
no, he's
team he used to play for.
I
So he's
liked him a
gonna bring
lot.
it.
I
Oh
liked him a lot. He's got some fire. And I like it when we picked RG3 and when we picked Cousins. Again, I was at work when we picked Cousins. I was watching my updates on my phone at work, and everybody was complaining like, "Oh, what a waste of a pick." I'm like, "Y'all are wrong." I'm telling you, I love this dude because I watched him when he was playing college. Man, I loved Kirk Cousins,
right.
and I
Yeah,
thought it was
no.
a great pick. I was the only one that thought it was a great pick.
And oh, how that ended up being a great pick because of everything that
he was
happened. And
so good.
he stepped into a situation that I honestly felt like no other QB at the time would have really handled like he did. And I know as a Washington fan, I'm always going to have that level of respect for him because he tried
Yeah,
to ball out for us, and
no, he was.
he
I
didn't
love him. I
always
love Kirk Cousins.
he didn't always have the best weapons, but
I was way higher on Kirk Cousins than nobody else was.
oh yeah, and I remember especially back when RG3 was struggling, even when he could have just like he got some starts and he could have just took over the locker room. No, he was still there supporting him and everything. And like
Absolutely.
that's something that good quarterbacks seem to do, I've noticed. So
He's kind of like you said, like we had a quarterback controversy at that time, but he kind of made it not a controversy. Like he was totally supportive, and
yeah,
that's what
and
was cool about him.
the only problem was our coaching staff at the time
Oh,
couldn't really make it, but I that was a whole dynamic altogether. Mike Shanahan still coaching, Kyle getting the reins of the offense,
ugh,
and
yeah,
the interesting thing is for our team, even like with some of the trouble in that we've had, like the amount of good talent that gets produced by this organization is pretty significant. I mean, you look
yes,
at head coaches right now, like LaFleur in Green Bay, he was one of ours. McVay was actually part of our staff, which is kind of crazy to think about.
it's insane,
Uh,
right?
and there was like a few other guys that were like just positional coaches that we kind of just let get away,
Well,
but
look at
not everyone, you
like
can't
you said, we
always,
had Kyle Shanahan,
yeah.
and man, he's done pretty well for himself. I wish he'd have done that for us.
Right, right. But it looks like every like at least if there's one thing we can look at, yes, this team doesn't always have like the most success statistically, but for an organization with all the trouble that it's had, like we've had a lot of good talent. And so as a fan, I feel like even when we have like bad seasons, there's always something to look forward to at least. And yeah, because I mean, some of those losing seasons we had, like if we didn't have a guy like McLaurin or like that around, it would be a lot more miserable, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a rough year. It's gonna be a rough year. I think we know that. But I'm interested to see what happens. Like you said, we got some amazing players. I hope we can keep them.
Right.
I'm a little reluctant on that because oh man, I could see him going somewhere else and that would hurt. And I'll definitely pull for him wherever he goes, but wherever they
especially
go, there's more than one.
especially receivers. I feel like we're gonna just lose a few naturally there that
Yeah,
are
our
going to
receiving core is
go
great.
somewhere else. And,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm never really mad when that happens. I'm just you want to see guys do well. It's just
Yeah,
like
it's
you said,
gonna
it's kind of
happen.
unfortunate that they it's not for your team, right? But
It's gonna happen.
yeah. Right. So I
There
think
you
we covered
go.
a lot there.
Yep, there you
Um,
go. Feels like we're there.
we could
We'll
talk about
see.
the oh yeah, we could talk about the defenses.
All right.
When it comes to the passing defense, the Vikings have a big edge on us there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they have 7 picks on the year. They've only given up 9 touchdowns, which
That's crazy.
right.
That's crazy.
Ours
That's like a
we've had
touchdown a week at this point.
right. It's actually insane. And then when
Yeah,
it comes to
that's
passing,
crazy.
for us, we've given up 14 touchdowns and we've only made 2 picks. But what the stats don't show is a lot of like the other things that this team's been doing, like pass deflections, the key moments, things like that. So
I think we
if
have
I were
more
to
of an I think we have more of an upfront defense that's tough.
right,
I think our secondary might be a little weaker, which is again, you think offensive line's a thing. Our secondary is always weak too, but our front defense right now is really tight.
right, and I've noticed, especially with our like defense, it's not necessarily one that's just going to get all the big stops, but it's more one that like bends and just doesn't break in the
Yeah,
key moments.
totally,
Which,
totally. We'll hold them to a field goal.
oh yeah, yeah, field goal, field punts. I think we forced a couple safeties this year. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
one at least. I know
yeah.
that.
I think there's been one or two for sure,
Yeah.
which is
And
weird.
it is,
Those
but
weird safeties, man.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Happened early on.
it's
That was on the Wentz side of things. I think we had a couple safeties on the other side, and then early in the
yeah,
year while he was
yeah.
around.
And I remember our defense was like celebrating to get 2 points, but like Jonathan Allen didn't really want to celebrate. He just kind of like, I did a good thing. I guess
Yeah.
it's like I think we were down by like 20 at the point too. And so he like you could see him get a little excited and that realization of like, ah fuck. uh, but been a good year though. I mean, the fact that we've been able to have 3 wins in a row here in a season that's had some moments that's left us scratching our heads is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'd be a lot happier with a win on the weekend here, but I'm kind of realistic with things. I know it's gonna be a tough game.
I
We
feel
could
like it's possible.
we
I
could
really
claw it
do.
out.
And that's amazing coming into this. I feel like it's actually possible. I don't like
Right.
a lot of the spot. I don't like the future is the Bills. I wish they were facing like a really tough
I mean,
like
week
division
11 is the
opponent at that
Cowboys
point
for
would be
them, but
nice. If the Vikings are going against a tough division opponent next week, it would really help. That's not happening. They're going non-conference road after this, so they're not going to care.
it's honestly a shame that their week 11 matchup wasn't their week 10, because if they went and had to face Dallas, then I feel it'd be a lot different. But
Yeah. So
no,
it's a weird spot, but
Fuck,
It's
even our
possible.
team. I mean, I don't think we have a bye week until
14, week 14. I looked it up.
yeah,
I think
which
it's
is
us and the
kind
Packers.
of of course.
And I don't know who's on the other side of that, or if it can't be just us two because that wouldn't make any sense. But
Oh,
I know, I think so. I know ours is week 14.
yeah, yeah. I'm actually pulling that up here.
You can make sure.
Oh no, I believe you. I'm not doubting you 1 second on that.
Oh, I do. I totally doubt me. But I looked it up a while back. I was like, where the hell's our
Yeah.
bye?
Oh, and then we play the Giants the week after. So we play the week. Okay, we play the Giants week 13. We go on a bye, and then we play the Giants week 15.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. That's what it is.
So
It's one of
yeah,
the weirdest spots I've ever seen.
week 13 we go into New York, and we go home for a week to chill, I
Yep.
guess. And then we host the Giants.
Then go right back to the Giants. Yeah, I've never seen that
Yeah,
before that I know of. I'd like to look up the history of that sometime because where does that
right.
ever happen? That's
I know
super weird.
we've had some weird scheduling like things happen in the NFL before for like odd reasons, but that one seems very strange to me. So
Probably gonna split that, I guess.
um,
Whatever's at home, I suppose.
I honestly feel like we're probably gonna have about a like I guess 10-8 season realistically. I would like to have
Phew,
two more wins,
that'd
but
be nice.
right. But realistically, even 9-9, because actually 9-8. Yeah, there's only 17 games.
I
I'm getting
haven't
ahead of
looked.
myself.
I haven't looked ahead at the whole schedule. I really haven't tried. I guess I should. Next week I'll have what I think is going to happen. I'll tell you. We'll
Oh,
do
no
that.
worries. We'll be a little
Spoiler
more
alert! Next week I'll do my prediction. That'll be the teaser that'll bring you back.
yes. Next week we're gonna have a plan. We'll actually stick to it. I won't get sidetracked 4 times.
Oh, it
And
happens. Yeah. No, if we could do this again, that'd be great. If not, one of us will do the show one way or
oh,
another.
we'll do this again for sure. I've really enjoyed this. This made it a lot more fun this week for sure. And
Oh, it's so great, man. So cool. So cool to finally talk to you. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been doing this for like 10 years. It's
yes,
insane.
it
It's
is. And
crazy. I can't believe how
I'm
long this thing's been.
I'm just glad that we can keep it going. And it's honestly been a lot of fun. So um
We tried bringing other admins in. That was hilariously bad.
oh yeah, we just had to clean up their messes, and so we found out it's kind of our thing here. But
Yeah, it has been.
either way,
It has
we
been. You've been amazing, man. Thank you so much. I have to do that now. Thank you so much for everything you've done. There was years where I completely checked out. I had nothing to do with this, and you
and it's
completely
okay
carried the whole thing.
because in those times where I needed to check out, you've done the same thing, and we've
Yeah.
kept it running. And honestly, it's going to be fun to keep this going and to keep seeing where things lead from here. So um, I do have to wrap up here, but I do
Yes.
appreciate your time there, and to anyone and everyone that's listening here today, and thanks again, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
Yep. Thank you, man. Thank everyone else. And I'm gonna end this thing and see y'all later.
All right, take it easy, man.